Well, hello and welcome to the Mariner with me, Chris Stanmore Major. Now, you'll have seen in the last week that I've been trying to put out a new kind of media which I've been working on. It's a combination of an audiobook, which I do anyway. I have a passion project podcast, which I do 5 days a week, where I read all these old books. You see here the logo that says the Mariner's Library. That's the name of the podcast. You can get that anywhere that podcasts can be found. But had this library donated to me. It's just a small section of it here behind me, and these are double stacked, these books. Um, and I felt like there was a way that I could somehow share these books with people, that I could get it out there, and that the knowledge that's inside these books could then be used by new people. There's just not that much time in one life to be reading a book every 5 minutes. So what I did is, with this new video format, I've already done the audio books, which exist. There's 20 odd books over on the Mariners Library. I wanted to put something onto YouTube and get it to go out to a bigger audience. And so I realized that I have another problem which I'm dealing with constantly, which is the fact that I have loads and loads of footage which I shoot when I'm out sailing on the boats, all over the world, all sorts of different things. But because of the nature of the fact that I'm often solo, there's not always time to like finish off a story or get all the footage or capture that essential bit of B-roll or something. So we have this format now where I get whatever footage I've got, which, in sailing, that tends to be long, long shots of things. It's all so beautiful. You want to try and capture it all. And then I'm going to put that to the audiobook, and that creates a piece of footage, or a piece of media rather, which then you can listen to if you turn off the screen, or you can look at and put your own music over, if you don't want to listen to the audio book. What it also means is that there's an opportunity for me here on Patreon to be able to then share more of the video with you. So here we go. Here's the show playing just down here now, and there's an opportunity for me to kind of go through it with you and to see what we can take from it, what we can extract from it. I don't have to do all the narration right there on board the boat and parcel up the package perfectly. I can just bring it back, give you the footage. You can listen to the audiobook, and then we can do these where we chat. So I've been trying to like get this going for a while now. I'm finding it very difficult, but I got a bit of a layout here, as you can see, and we'll see if we can make our way through it. So this time, this piece of footage, it's not got, it's mostly drone footage. There's not loads of stuff on deck for this first one. So it gives me an opportunity to kind of work out how the software works and get everything, working basically. And then later we'll incorporate the audio. Certainly the second and third one have sections where the audio is good, but so often I'm not using the audio because it's, it's badly corrupted by the wind over the mic. That's my biggest issue. So just quickly, the book that we are listening to in this is by a chap called Weston Martyr. I got a little picture of Weston over here. Yay. Okay, so that's Weston Martyr. He was the guy that did the introduction to Voss's book, The Venture and Voyages of Captain Voss. And if you haven't heard that, there's two ways to access it. You can go and get it on the Mariner Library and listen to it there as an audio production. Or on the Mariner, we did do a bit where we read an absolutely beautiful introduction that he did to Voss's book, and that's what got me interested in Weston Martyr. Absolutely beautiful. All this footage was done by my friend Tom Pierce. Tom, got your Lahaina hat on here. This is the problem, right? It's all so beautiful, all this footage. What am I meant to then do with this? How do I splice this into YouTube when YouTube just wants me to do like a 5-minute whatnot and it will give me all the prizes? Sailing is not very good at quick shots. Nothing happens very quickly in sailing, apart from the bad things, of course, but some fantastic footage here. Now, this, of course, is Iceland, and I had never been to Iceland before this. I've got to say, I still feel a bit like I've never been to Iceland. As often happens with sailing trips, all I saw was the inside of the marina, which we'll get to in a second at Polakshaven. I went once into Reykjavik, drove up there and picked up the crew and brought them back while Tom was getting all this footage, and never did get to explore, so I'm looking forward to doing that one day. But yeah, absolutely beautiful. Quite cold. It was September when we did this. This event was one which we had been booked for most of the people that were on it actually before COVID, and this was part of a very ragtag series of events we did in 2022, where we were getting the people that wanted to go sailing instead of getting a refund. Obviously, we had to cancel everything during 2020, 2021. With very small crews, I took the 80-foot maxi Weddell and went and sailed from Nova Scotia to Newfoundland. And then from Newfoundland to the UK, there was a crew that did that Marconi event with us, had fun doing that. And then I sailed the boat solo from the UK up to Iceland, which was a great challenge for me. I've sailed the boat before, but that was, I can't remember how long that journey is now. It's like 1,000 miles or something. But it's quite a monster of a boat, as you can imagine. She's 80 foot long. She was built in 1997 as the ultimate extrapolation of what a maxi can be. A maxi is any boat that's over 70 foot, a racing boat over 70 foot. Kevlar in the body, incredibly strongly built. She has a 12-ton keel that's 3.5 meters. That's sort of 10, 11 feet down underwater. And she is an absolute beast to windward. You can see how the back is kind of pinched off in a way that's different from the open 60s with the square back end. They're very, very good for going upwind. Very, very good at going downwind, the open 60s. But that square back corner that they have means that going to windward, there's no way to kind of release the pressure under the quarter as the wave goes over. Wave goes under the boat goes over the wave. It depends how you're doing it, I guess. But when that wave comes alongside the boat and then is pressing up on the quarter, it slams the bow of the boat down into every single wave, where when you've got a tapered shape like that, it allows the boat to kind of ride her way through the water, deeper underwater sections as well. So much more sea kindly for a race boat. Mast on this, 130 feet, this mast. I actually did the Newport Bermuda race recently with the Open 60s mainsail on, and my Open 60 mast is taller than the Open 60 masts that are allowed these days, and it was still like 10 feet too short for this boat, which kind of worked out because we had an amateur crew. But I realized just how big that mainsail is. And that mainsail is 1,600 square feet, so it's quite the beast on here. Looks like we're just coming off the dock. There's a video over on the Mariner channel, which is solo docking this boat, coming into this port. And you can see there's a very interesting moment where the engine seems to cut out. Now, in that video, I said to people, hey, what do you think went wrong? And there were all sorts of ideas. At the time when it happened, I thought it was gearbox. And then later I started to get into it and try and assess, is this the gearbox going on with this engine? The engine's running fine, but we've got no propulsion. I thought, the hydraulic plates are, not engaged somehow or whatever, or the hydraulically operated plates are not engaging. No. The issue was actually the propeller. She has a, which propeller in that one? It's a Max prop that's on this boat. And the gearing inside the prop had gone. And this moment just coming up, or I suppose the night before, is the first time I get to experience the fact the boat no longer wants to drive sometimes. The night before, I couldn't really see what was going on. I just saw that it was a bit smoky out the back of the boat. This bit of footage, I actually cut it out because no one needs to see it. But there's a giant black plume of smoke comes out the back of the boat as we are. Is this frozen? This Oh no, it's still going. Wow, it's a very slow departure from the dock there. We can't tell what's happening, of course. It's probably waiting for the wind or what have you. But I go ahead here and everything's fine. And then when I go into reverse to start to back the boat away, see up in that right-hand corner of the basin, there's a lot of kind of soot on the water. When I went to reverse, the boat went into James Bond mode and there's this massive black cloud of crap coming out the back. And that's caused by the fact the gearing and the prop had gone wrong. So the prop, instead of taking on a pitch, it was just pointing fore and aft, still in the situation it should be when you're sailing, and then it's trying to turn the propeller around with just flat paddle blades. So you've got this weird symptom where the boat wouldn't drive ahead, wouldn't go reverse. As soon as you put it in gear, the engine really bogs down and sounds like it's about to stall, and you get these massive black clouds of smoke out the back of it because the engine's having to work so hard. It's not able to come up to proper RPM. There's too much fuel going in it. So right now, it seems to be okay, though. She's driving along lovely. So the crew that were joining me in Iceland, Tom and I have sailed before, and a few of the others had sailed on their own private boats or gone and done charters like this. But on the whole, we'd say for this kind of boat, they were amateur to the situation. Amateur meaning that they love to sail, but they're not getting paid for it. People pay to come and sail with us on these trips, or they used to do with Spartan Ocean Racing. Spartan no longer exists anymore, but we are doing trips with this boat in 2025. We're going to do the Caribbean 600, the possibly Antigua Race Week. We're going to do the Fastnet, and we're going to do the Middle Sea Race. So I'm going to be using the boat for training the rest of the time, but there's an opportunity for you to come and join the boat if you want. Look at these shots. I love this stuff with drones. Hey, we just got this whole new kind of view of the world. You get to look down on things in a way that would have been considered magical previously. There's almost an argument here to go even higher and see all the reflections of the clouds and what have you on here. But what we're doing here is we're moving the boat to a different location, because the wind is going to come in from the bottom, like right hand corner of this screen, and it's going to blow up through this basin. It's going to come out, I think it's the south. I think it's coming out of the south, the breeze, and we would have been very, very badly pressed against that wall where we were. So we're going round, and my initial idea was to lay to the wall that's to the ports of the boat now on the left there. But going closer to it, you realize there's just no way to have the boat. I've got fender boards on board the boat. I've got a lot of fenders, but there's no way with these massive pilings to make this relatively little boat for this kind of port be safe in a heavy breeze there. So I come around, I have a look at it here, and then if you've seen the video already when it was streamed, then you'll have seen that I turn again and go to the top corner. But again, Tom, at this point, I got to say, this was, I think, the second or third day that Tom had ever had the drone, and he did a great job, I think, with this. I certainly could have done it, but I had a drone once. it didn't last very long, unfortunately. I had two drones. The first one was very cheap from Temu or something, and it just flew off and never came back. I guess that was its comment on my skill set. The other one was, what happened to that one? Oh, it was more expensive. It was a Swell Pro, and it had a crack in its hull, which I didn't know about. And the whole point of the Swell Pro is it can land on water. Well, it landed on water, and then it went underwater, and we never saw that again either. So I think its bag is the only thing that remains, which is just over there. Like, maybe we'll find a use for that in the future sometime. All right, so nice shots here as a kind of, I make my decision as to where I'm going to go. And again, this engine had not created it. It had the puffer smoke right before. It had a puffer smoke when we left that dock, which just looked like it was a sticky injector or something. I didn't quite know what was going on with it. But then straight back to being perfectly okay. This is foreshadowing, because later on this becomes a big problem. But for now, we're just getting the details set in my head as to how big the bomb is. Very nice boat this to drive from the point of view of like maneuvering. The Open 60s, they've got quite shallow rudders. They're angled rudders, so when the boat heels up, that rudder goes lower in the water. But they're absolute pig to try and maneuver, because of course the propeller's in the center, and it's not got any prop wash over the rudders, because they're 20 feet behind it and not directly behind its wash. So at this point, I'm looking around. I often will approach somewhere I want to park in reverse. It's very, very maneuverable, the boat. And the great thing is, in that situation, as long as the bow is pointing away from danger, if it do start to get too close, straight ahead, understanding, of course, a bit of prop walk that's going to come in there. I'm looking now like, oh, can we go alongside here? Is this going to work? You can see the size of the boat is not very it's not looking like it's going to park in there, but honestly we do get to some kind of solution in the end. And you can do that with boats, obviously, is as long as you've got something strong to lean against, then you can put lines around the boats, and we'll see that a little bit later, and do combinations of spider work that's going to get the boat secure without it all having to be secure onto the exact thing that it's leaning on. I was looking for a combination here where I think the issue I had here is that the boat that's like closer to the land there, it's sticking out very badly from the boat that I'm looking to come alongside. So I'm realizing that I'm going to have to put the hull quite far forwards, and that's not going to balance up the load. So from here, it's kind of obvious what to do. Go around the other side of the dock, secure onto that smaller boat, and then spread your lines out. And that's exactly what's going to happen in a second once we get ourselves organized. But it was a good way to kind of promote this this footage and this the lessons from this. The main thing for me is that I want to have something where I can make the audiobook episode, which takes a lot of editing. I don't mind putting that in. I'm quite quick with that editing now. I'm quite quick with my setup here to the audiobook episodes, and they are audiobook quality. Those, that was something I really wanted to strive for. The early ones I was learning, but now we're at episode like 250 odd. Like, they're pretty good to quality point of view. There we go. We've got it parked on the other side. I guess Tom's batteries ran out while I was slowly getting it parked. I've come and parked on the other side, and you see how much more sense it makes. But This one is a warm up for me to learn this technique and kind of connect and stream and do all the rest of this stuff. But the future episodes is much more going on deck, and there's audio that we can get involved in, and then I'll be able to do things which are more like this, da where I'm down here, and then we can watch the video together, and I can just comment as we're going along. Maybe we'll just have a go like this for now because we're getting a little bit closer to the boat and we can see more. So yeah, Kevlar, as we say, Kevlar is an interesting choice for these boats. It's a strong, very strong laminate to be building the boat out of, but it is one that is hydroscopic and does absorb moisture. So you have to be very careful with your maintenance on these boats. Make sure that at all times Kevlar is not exposed to the elements. The issue with Kevlar is that trying to sand it is like trying to sand a sheep. It's quite a dry laminate when it's made up, and if you break through the deck layers or the hull layers, you get all these kind of furry bits that you cannot sand back. You'd be better to go around with a pair of nail scissors and try and work it out than trying to sand it. So it's a hard laminate to look after. You got to make sure no water gets in. You got to make sure that you know how to deal with it when it comes time to make some modification or make some kind of repair. But incredibly strong, and that's why it's beneficial. Look at these patches of patches of repair on the hull. We were leaving the hull unpolished because the silicone that's in the polishes makes it very difficult to apply a wrap. And the idea of this boat is to put a wrap on it, but in the end, you're like, hang on, we could have polished this and the polish worn off in the amount of time since we started thinking about this. The guy's putting a little flake in the sail there, doing a good job. That's the number 5 jib. So you see that's like 4 or 5 people laid out. The bottom of it, the foot of the sail is about 24 foot long, something like that. But on a foredeck, which itself is 35 feet long, it still is a very small sail. So yeah, beautiful to get this. And you can see here more about the black lines coming off the bow going to the dock, and then spring lines going to this little boat that we're alongside, and then the stern line going to the dock as well. So the boats, and what I've done is I've angled the boat in a little bit there, so a longer run of flat side is what's up against the fishing vessel, and we're not putting too much of the rounded part of the hull against it, because otherwise it's just very unfair on the fenders, right? The fenders are trying to take the weight. This boat weighs about 25 ton. Obviously, when she starts slopping around with the breeze and what have you, it's difficult for the fenders to spread that load. So we angle the bow of the boat in and give her a flatter run of the hull to just spread out the load a little bit. Interesting rig this, hey, with those 4 spreaders, but then the top of it totally unsupported. I'm told that these masts are incredibly strong. I'd love to chat to I know there's a guy that Tom's made contact with who's done a lot of rigging on these boats, helped, I think, build the masts originally. I'd love to connect with him and find out more about how the masts were made up, because it's a towering rig, and the fact that the top of it doesn't have that extra spreader, I was like that close to having a 5 spreader rig. I just managed to get the boat that decides not to have 5 spreaders. But that means that upper section of mast must be very, very stiff, because otherwise it would need to have spreaders to hold it. Tom just getting lined up for something dramatic here. As Tom's skills developed, this drone footage got better and better, but initially it's everyone's learning, not least a bit later on. You'll see, I think, in episode 3 of this, where we actually do some operations off the boat in the early evening at sea, and it was pretty nerve-wracking all around for everybody that we're going to lose the drone or get hit by the drone or whatever it was. So we've got that a little bit more worked out now. Yeah, nice. Now, the second of these has got much more of the preparation. The guy's going shopping, redoing the refueling. We're doing some work on board the boat and dealing with the heavy wind that comes in the next episode, the wind that we're setting up for here. Yeah, good job, Tom. That's great. What a fantastic way to see the boat. Oh, buddy. Nice work. Yeah. So not much to really see and chat about on this one, because it's we're going in. This is where it becomes a submarine. Oh no, see, Tom knows where to stop. I didn't know where to stop. I'd have put it on the surface of the water and then wondered where it disappeared. Yeah, but I say I've already made the first 4 of these. The second one is the prep import. The third one is us departing and getting going, and then at sea. And then on this voyage, we ended up skirting round a triple header superstorm that hit the Maritimes. This is a 1,700 mile voyage, and it was windy as all get out for the whole thing. So whilst this is a bit of a slow start today, I'll get better at doing this, and the footage it gets more kind of in line with what we're trying to provide as well, because it's more on board the boat and less drone stuff. But today at a warm up, this is not too bad. We get to see how things work and spiral round and round the boat and look at it from all sorts of different angles. But yeah, if you got any questions, if you want to ask me any more detailed stuff, this narrated version is only available here on Patreon. So stick your questions down in the comments down below. Put a like on it. It's not so important on Patreon, but it really, by this point where we're kind of connecting here on Patreon, your feedback's super important to me. I want to know what you kind of think of this, how we make it better. And of course, as always, the best way for this stuff to grow is that you share it with other people. I know that SpaceX, when they needed to get a lot more employees, Elon just asked everybody, hey, tell me somebody that you think should be employed here. You're kind of responsible for how that goes. And they doubled their workforce overnight. Same with Patreon, same with the YouTube channel. Word of mouth is still the best way to share all this stuff. And then hopefully we can do more of this in the future. But as we get closer to the conclusion here, we'll get back onto this and see if we can bring this out to a conclusion. There we go. That's the end of the video. Have I managed to? No, I've managed to lose myself now. I'm still here. Don't worry. I'm hoping that I can come back to you. Oh, there we go. I knew there'd be one bit where it'd go terribly wrong. There had to be one bit where it was black screen, but at least we've got to the end of the first one, and I've had my practice and recorded this, and we can do this in future ones. Say there's 250 episodes in the Mariner's Library. There's hundreds and hundreds of hours of me sailing along, and what I thought, if when we run out of my footage, we can get footage from other people, and we'll just have that footage in the background, and we can discuss what's going on other people's boats. Take footage of your boat, and then you can share it with me, and I will put an audio book next to it, and then we'll be able to see what you're doing on your boat whilst we're going along. But a bit of an experimental first go. I hope you'll forgive me for being a bit clunky with it. We'll get the better camera set up here so that I'm a little bit more HD later on. I'm a bit SD at the moment. But yeah, that's the first one of these. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to your feedback. I'll speak to you in the next one. Cheers.